Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Again, this is Jan Stringer, and we're having a Zoom video chat for attracting your perfect purpose. And Alan is on his way, so bear with me because he's going to be having a technical difficulty, but that's the way it goes in these things. But some of you know me, some of you are new to me, and some of you are new to Zoom, some of you new to this topic. But I wanted to just honor everybody that, even if you've heard this 1,000 times before, that who I am is Jan Stringer. I'm the founder of Perfect Customers, and I've been doing a wonderful business called Perfect Customers Inc. for about 16 years now. And one of the things that has been near and dear to my heart and that I saw way before I started Perfect Customers, started probably back when I was working inside of corporations. I'm sure you can relate to this, is that when I was working for other people inside of these corporations, oftentimes I didn't really get to express who I really was in the way that I wanted to express it. And sometimes it felt like I was leaving a part of me outside of the door when I walked into the office. And when I left the last job that I had, I was a VP of sales, and that for me was supposed to be the pinnacle career, and it was in many ways, but it was the pinnacle of me getting to a place where I was ready to step out and find out, what is Jan all about? What's important to me, and how can I live my life according to what's important to me? Like, I really wanted to know my purpose, and I wasn't really sure what that was. And so I left on a journey to discover what's important to me, how can I live my life more true to that. And what evolved out of it was what early on, many people have read my first book, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity. And what I discovered by writing that book, and long before it actually went to print, is that everybody has a big why, a reason. And in my book and in all my teachings, we've been teaching something that we call strategic attraction planning. And as part of the strategy, step number 2 is to identify what makes me and my perfect relationships tick. And I discovered that there was a common interest, a common belief, a common core value in all of the most significant relationships, including business as well as our personal relationships. And if I could discover what that was for me by virtue of the law of attraction, I would be able to attract more people to me that resonated with the same thing. So that's been the premise of my work for the last 16 years. And I've been living true to what makes me tick. And I've found that in my relationships. What I discovered recently is that my clients were asking me questions that led me to believe that there was something more. That, I thought, just if I could get what makes me tick, that was everything. But some people wanted to know, well, what is making me tick? How does that relate to my purpose? And then people were wanting to know, how does that relate to my vision? And so in today's call, I'm going to give you a little mini snippet of a retreat that I did in November called the Visioneering Retreat. And it was all about visioneering and pioneering. You probably saw the emails, and maybe you wanted to come and weren't able to. So I'm giving you a little snippet of something that evolved. Actually, it evolved right before the retreat, where we saw a special way to connect what makes me tick with my purpose and my vision. And you're going to get that today out of being here. So in just a minute, we're going to look at our slides, but I wanted to give anybody an opportunity to say hello. And we've got quite a number of people online, and all the lines are muted, but if you go up to the and click on your chat or the place where the participants are, well, let me just unmute everybody for a second. Oh, it might be a little noisy, but is there anybody who'd like to just say hello and what attracted you to be here? Lines are all open. We got quite a good crowd. We got a lot of people here today, and I really appreciate you taking time to be here. So you can mute your line. There's a little bit of background noise. Thank you for bearing with me, but I wanted to open the lines and give you a chance to say hello or just anything that attracted you to be here.
Well, I'll say hello, Jan. This is Cimber, and I'm a harpist living in California. And I've been a fan of your book since the day it came out. I think it's the best business book that's ever been written.
Oh, thank you.
And I've been sharing it with my friends over the years, and I've just seen it work and work and work and work. And then, I get a little lazy. I don't get as, pay as much attention to my plan. And so I'm just here for a refresher and to, see what's new with you guys.
Awesome. I love that. Well, this is what's new, so I'm glad you're here, and so this is really perfect because many people like you, Cimber, and many other people that might be on our chat today have been very loyal raving fans, and so we are very appreciative of you for being here and giving us a chance to share something that might be a little bit of a new twist, let's say, on what we've already been delivering. So thanks for being here, Cimber. Anybody else like to just say hello and what attracted you to be here?
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. So it's Cimber referred to me yesterday. It's last minute. This is new to me, so I want to know. She tell me this is perfect for me, so I'm curious to see what I can learn from here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for being here, and I hope that you learned something that's going to make a huge difference in your upcoming year. So thanks for being here. Everybody, just go ahead and mute your lines so that, it's not, we don't have to hear everybody's background noise. It's not, all the lines are unmuted by me, so go ahead and just reach down in your toolbar and click the mute, and then when you want to speak, just unmute. And who's next? Wants to say hello?
I only have like 300,000 right now.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to mute everybody.
Do you see me playing today? Join the table.
All right. Well, we've got a few multitaskers going on. Alan, I'm going to unmute you so that you can say hello.
Oh, good. Hello, I thought it was interesting what Cimber had to say about attracting perfect customers, the power of strategic synchronicity being the best business book ever written, because not just recently, Barrett Kohler told us that Attracting Perfect Customers, the Power of Strategic Synchronicity was, in fact, one of the best business books they have ever published, and they only publish business books.
Well, and what's a marvel to me is that when I was in the early stages of writing that book, one of the favorite places I like to hang out is Barnes and Noble in Houston, and I would go over there and get a coffee, and then I would sit and kind of like indulge myself by pulling books off the shelf and look at them. But also I couldn't help noticing the half price table. And I'm like, why am I writing a book? There's so many books out there, and to know that we've survived this long, that we still have a best-selling book, and books are still selling on a book that came out in 2001. I feel very blessed by that. So we're still welcoming you. If you've got a desire to say hello, you can do it on the chat. Kudos.
Well, I will.
Carmen.
I'll jump in.
Thank you.
And the reason I'm here is because I missed the reunion.
Yes, you did.
But all is good, and things are moving forward in certain ways, and I'm here.
All right. Well, other than coming to hang out with us, was there anything special that you'd like to get out of being here today, Carrie?
Well, considering that my business is coaching around purpose and passion and mission, then part of my activity is attracting people, clients who want to have their purpose. So I plan on taking away something that I can use in my activity and coaching business.
That's
Yeah,
great. All right.
you're in the right place.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. All right, I'll make a little daisy chain here. Everybody's got their videos off except Carrie Bell. Carrie actually introduced us to Zoom, so I think that's pretty cool. So just remember, we've got all the lines muted. However, if you'd like to chime in at any time, you can use the chat. I'm doing my best to watch when a chat comes up. I see Carmen says, kudos. Thank you, Carmen. And so you can just chat and get my attention if you want, or you can unmute your own line, and then that allows you to say whatever you want. So, Alan, anything else you want to add before we get started on our program today?
Well, yeah, first I'd just like to congratulate everyone for actually getting here. You know, that's like the hard part. Clicking on all the links and having all the links work and putting in the proper ID, et cetera, and to actually show up. And now that you've shown up, this is an opportunity you're in a what I would call a microcosm where you've attracted the perfect people to support you in hearing what you need to hear in order to move something forward in your life. And so one of the things that I'd like to do is just ask you to, one, maybe just write down a goal or 2 or 3 or 4. So, you know,
Or 6.
yeah, the more the better. And listen from that place that now that you're actually here, the hard part is over, and you've attracted this amazing group of perfect people. Listen from that place, from a place that you're going to hear something really valuable today. You're going to, someone's going to say something, you're going to get a resource, or like Carrie, is here, he's going to hear about attracting your perfect purpose. And so when he listens from that place that he's in the perfect place and perfect people, he's going to hear something today that's going to make a difference for him in his business tomorrow. So I just ask everybody to listen from that place. We all have something, even if you don't know, even if you don't think you have, a dream or something that you want to have happen. Use this time together to really access what that dream might be if you don't think you have one.
Awesome. And welcome, Nancy Fields. I see you on video, so I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, hi. I just realized that how to put the video on, how to turn it off. Great.
Yes.
Nancy.
Hey, and I just want to, first of all, I'm just so excited that when Jen and I met last week on a call, and she says, well, now you know what your purpose is, don't you? I said, I do.
Yeah.
And I figured that one of my purposes, I believe, is I've got to start showing up. And stop hiding and just showing up. So I thank you for all that you've done for me. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and here you are showing
Here
up
you
on
are,
video.
showing up.
I'm showing up.
Cool. Very cool. Well, here's what you can expect to get out of our mini retreat today. And here's, we're going to just share with you our vision for you, and hopefully we'll achieve this in 90 minutes. We did a 2.5-day retreat, so we're going to just build on the shoulders of what we started in last month. So
Is that you're going to Zoom along?
we're zooming.
Zoom it.
We're zooming, yeah.
We're zooming it.
So in our mini retreat today, you'll get the ability to become more awake and aware to an idea, like a new idea, a possibility, a vision, or a dream that's important to you. And that's what we're here for, is to enliven that new idea so that you can bring that forward in the new year. And also, there's people on this call, you may not get to meet them personally, but you can experience their voices, and some of us for their video, and you can experience their energy, that there's a supportive structure. And that's part of building legs or putting legs to a vision, as we call it, to have your perfect purpose be supported. So just a little story about me is that when I started Perfect Customers, which was in the year 2000, I hired a business coach who was, it was really fortunate that I was able to hire her, because normally she only works with Fortune 500 companies and CEOs of very large organizations. And she had at that time was going to put together a group of entrepreneurs, and she said she wanted to have that kind of as a side business. And she thought of me, and I said I jumped on the chance to work with her, but the group thing fell through. But she said since I was so interested that she would work with me one-on-one. And so in our first meeting, she said, what would you like from our coaching together? And I know lots of you use coaches or have in the past. So that's our first conversation, right? What do I want my coach to help me with? And I told her that I wanted her to help me look at my business through the eyes of a CEO. Like, I wanted to become the person, what does a CEO think like? What do they do? What are they looking at? What are the things that they want in their business? And even though it was just a small 2-person business, I want to act and be and have the being, which is also an important tool of ours. I wanted to learn the being of a CEO. Well, I guess it worked, because that was in the year 2000, and it's going on the year 2017. But one of the things she told me that, this is, next slide, let's see.
I want to mention one thing that some people might be thinking right now is that question, what do you want, is in fact one of the most difficult questions to answer. And one of the reasons that it's difficult is that if I do in fact say what I want, then it's incumbent upon me to actually manifest it.
Yeah.
And so what that does is it's like setting a goal. It brings up all of the counter intentions, the fears, the doubts, the disbeliefs, the whatever has to be shifted in order for me to have that dream, or the resources to support me in having that dream actually show up in my life. So that's why sometimes we have a difficult time answering the question, what do I want? But the truth is, each of us really knows in our heart, and that's going to start to come out in today's class.
That's right. So as you can see on the screen, dream
Yeah.
big. Here's Alan, reiterating that what he just said. But my coach told me, if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's too small. And I was like, well, don't worry, because I'm plenty scared already. And so that's how I want you to listen to the rest of our time together today, is what is that dream? And go ahead and let it scare you a little bit. That's okay. When I will confide in you that when she and I met for our strategic planning session after that first coaching session, we met in person to lay out a strategy for the business. And she says, all right, so, let's look at the next 5 years. And my eyes just rolled into the back of my head. And when I'm like, what about the next 5 minutes? So if you are in the process of expanding or just starting something brand new, a new project, a foundation, a business, whatever it is, don't feel bad if you don't know what it needs to look like even in a year from now. You can have a big dream, and you can baby step it along the way. All right. Well, I'm still learning how to use this. Sorry for the little thing. All right. So one of the things about our group today, and I love that we have a few people that are on the video, and one of the things that we tell people when you're trying to get in touch with what you're all about, your soul, when you're looking, these are things that are inside of you. Purpose, what makes you tick, your vision. And I think one of the most, the wisest thing I ever did was hire that business coach, even though I wasn't really sure I could afford her in the year 2000. In fact, I was so concerned that I would not be able to make our bill. I sent her a check after every coaching session. So she told me one day, she said, you're sending me checks before I have time to send you an invoice. And I said, yeah, that's the way we want it. But the wise thing about that, even though the money was a stretch for me, is that she could reflect things back to me that I couldn't see about myself. And that's what an Anam Cara is. And who we are for people in our business are Anam Caras. We're soul friends. And that's taken from a beautiful book, if you want to check it out, called The Book of Celtic Wisdom by John Donahue, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but his book lives on. And what you want in your life are people like Alan and I have had the joy of being for so many people and witnessing and being there for them as they're looking into their heart of hearts of what's important to them and what makes them tick. And so that's what you want in your life, and that's who we are for you. That's who we are for each other in our programs. So it says here that a soul friend to you, I can open my heart and share my innermost self. I can trust you and you'll accept me for who I truly am. And that's what we all want, isn't it? Because as a process of what we're all on the planet to do, I believe that God put us here for a reason, and our job is to discover what that reason is. And so that last part of awakening to our inner light and beauty, our souls flow together as one, and that's what a soul friend is. And if you've been trying to do it all alone, and maybe you've been successful in some endeavors, maybe it's time to give that up and to recognize who your soul friends are. So that's like one of the golden keys of our work. Okay, here we go. Okay. So just to give you an idea of how it does work, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Is that back in 1997, I discovered a dance technique that I was very excited about called Nia. And if you're a Nia dancer or teacher, put it on the chat line because I want to know who you are. But I'm still dancing. I'm still doing Nia about 2 to 3 times a week. And I have been trained as a teacher. I've gone through their white belt teacher training and blue belt teacher training. And but back then, when I discovered Nia, I was working inside of a corporation as a VP of sales. And one of the things that got me to going to a Nia class was I had a chronic neck pain. And the neck pain was really because I had so much tension that I carried in my neck, and my vertebrae kept popping out of alignment. And so it was actually my chiropractor that said to me one day after I was going there about 2 times a week, he said, Jan, you are going to have to find a new way to relieve your stress. And you can come here, but your insurance is almost up because you've come so many times. But also, you just really may need to look at a lifestyle change. And that's exactly what happened, is that in 1997, I literally investigated some alternative practices like yoga, etc., and to try to relax and see a new perspective. And what happened was I danced my way right out of that corporation. And one of the things when I left there is that even though I had been in sales and had a very successful sales career for many, many years, I wasn't experiencing my soul's purpose in the way that I really wanted it to be expressed. I just didn't know what that was. I didn't know how I was going to do that. And I just knew by virtue of some of the basic principles and the universal laws, such as law of attraction, law of manifestation, and even just things that I learned, tools of my trade of how to be a good salesperson, were going to get me through. And Alan, you look like you're going to add into that.
Well, I was going to say, it wasn't long after 1997 that I had a similar transition, shall we say. I was at the time director of sales and marketing for a telecommunications company. And I knew that the company was going to be bought out, and I was going to have to find a way to replace a very good income. And right about that time, someone handed me a copy of Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity. And I remember reading through the book, and after about 20 minutes, I just looked up at my friend and I said, wow, this is exactly what I've been looking for, because I knew that I had discovered the strategy and how to plan out my life to make the transition from being in corporate America to doing what I truly loved. You know, and it only took me 40 years to get there.
Right.
You know? And so when I came to a course, and Jan actually showed me how I could use the strategic attraction planning process in my own life, and how I could share that strategy with others, and in so doing have a structure through which I could exchange my truest gift, experience fulfillment. And at the time, I had no idea how I was ever going to make a consistent six-figure income. However, that's exactly what I did with Jan's amazing strategy, and following the coaching that I got back in the beginning there. So that's if you're in a place where you're about to make a transition, like Jan was mentioning, or like what I was talking about, this strategy, the strategic attraction planning process, is going to give you exactly what you need to be able to plan your day. I remember you said, if you don't plan your day, your customers will. Well, that's pretty much the way it is in life too. If you don't plan your day and plan a life that you love, absolutely love, somebody else is going to plan it for you.
Yes, absolutely. So as you can see, my little bubble went from I'm a dance teacher to, it took me about 3 years to get to the place where I knew where I was supposed to be going, what I wanted to do, and that was all around attracting perfect customers. The strategic attraction planning process was starting to take off, and next, the book drew me out to start something whole new, and the internet was just becoming a thing that we could really market using that tool. And so it seems like my vision from being a dance teacher to being a book author and a business owner took me 3 years of soul searching to get there. I mean, those were agonizing years, I will tell you. Nothing like going to a networking meeting and not knowing what to say, hi, my name's Jan Stringer, and beyond that, I really don't know. So it's not a lot of fun to be in that void of not knowing exactly where you want to be and how you want to be expressing. But I think today's going to help you. We're going to, that same thing that I helped Alan with many years ago, and then I've been through personally, are tools we're going to be giving you today.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. If you think about it, look at what Jan just said. In that, if someone had asked her, what do you want? The answer to her question was probably not, well, I want to write one of the best business books that's ever been published. I want to make a difference for tens of thousands of people around the world. I want to support people in writing their own books, in developing global communities and successful international businesses. That wasn't the answer to that question back then, was it?
No, back then I thought I was kind of ridiculous for even thinking to write a book. And so it was just an idea. It was a dream come true. And what the dance class, actually, I had a more ridiculous thought, is that I wanted to get people dancing. And so that's, if you attend one of our workshops, you'll get to experience some dancing as well. But anyway, as we've mentioned before, one of the hearts of our work has been strategic attraction planning, and step number 2 is getting in touch with what makes me tick. And you can see there's Nancy. Let's see if I can pull my cursor up. She's got the little hat on over here. Nancy Fields, and of course you can see Kerry Bell. He's been at several of our retreats, and so has Nancy, as well as many other people. And the heart of what makes me tick, we use a metaphor of a lighthouse. And the lighthouse is the symbology that we use. If you haven't read our book, or if you do read our book, you'll read about our metaphor there. But if you will just envision that each of us is like a lighthouse, and that our business is like the structure of the lighthouse. And at the heart of who we are and what makes us tick is the light that shines from the lighthouse. And so as we become more in touch with what that is, the brighter our light shines. And if we're lighthouses, the brighter our light shines, the further out our signal can go. So that's really the analogy that I want to just say there about the lighthouse example. But you can also imagine that if your light is, if you're trying to be something for everybody, and maybe you can relate to this, I know at times in my life I've felt this way, that I always wanted to be everything to everyone. And in business, certainly if you're an entrepreneur, you may think that I need to work with everybody. Well, by virtue of our strategic attraction planning process, you'll clear out a lot of those less than perfect clients. But sometimes, you know, there's still that tendency to want to serve people that really aren't a good fit for us. And by really getting in touch with what makes you tick and using this particular process, you'll start to get more clarity. You'll certainly get more focus, but you'll also start drawing to you the perfect situations, the perfect relationships, the people that you're meant to be working with.
Yeah, because you start to learn how to make decisions based on what's perfect for me. And so even if you've been doing something successfully for 25, 30 years and you feel now something new needs to emerge, you really need a group of Anam Cara, of soul friends, of supportive people around you to help you draw out what that is.
So just to let you know that how our particular Attracting Perfect Purpose program, which we are going to tell you about in a minute, we do have started a new program to expand on what we're talking about today. This connection of the My Tick plus Purpose equal Vision was something very magical, happened right before the retreat, where we were getting together. Anna Garner, who has been one of our participants in our programs, and a friend that lives here in Santa Fe, she came over to help us kind of prep for the retreat by going over the timeline and some of the material. And we got off on a conversation. I'm not quite sure how this evolved, but we got into a really magical conversation of how to develop.
We were going to practice the retreat.
Yeah, we were going to practice. That was the so-called reason for meeting.
Right, we were going to study our lines and make sure we were prepared and had it right.
Study our lines, yeah. So here's where we started just touching base with what makes me tick. So I want to just give you some insight on how to get in touch with this part of our equation here. So we've already given you the lighthouse example, and by the way, this is a beautiful lighthouse picture of a lighthouse that we got to visit last year, or a year before, I think. It's in Portland, Maine. Beautiful, beautiful place. And so the lighthouse, being your light, is the example. That's the metaphor. And here's how to get in touch with what makes you tick. And you can write this down and you can work on it later. You can even email me and I'll work with you on it. What makes me tick, here's how I get in touch with this, is that I get kind of in a quiet state and I ask myself some questions such as, what gets me out of bed in the morning? Okay, I know the dog, the cat, the alarm clock. Other than that, there's something that when you're committed to something, so that's another part of this inquiry, is what am I committed to? So when I'm committed to something, there's something that's so important to me, I'm going to get up and do it over and over. Certainly, there was something that was so important to me that I've been doing the same thing for the last 16 years. I mean, I fell in love with the work that I do back in the year 2000, and just it's been a love affair for a very long time. What's going to get me out of bed to do that? Another 16 years. So what gets me out of bed? What am I so committed to that I'll get up and do it over and over again? What is my purpose? Well, no, not. We'll talk about that in a minute. What's my passion? You could look at that. So go ahead and just write a few things, see what shows up. So I was working with a client this week. She actually came to the retreat, and then we kind of expanded on her equation, I'm calling it, my purpose, attracting perfect purpose formula here. And what made her tick, and she said I could share this with you, and she discovered that it's about creating safety and security for herself and others. And if you knew her background, you would understand why she would say that. And so that's what you want, is some kind of a statement that expresses something like she came up with. She also said it in another way, helping others to discover their greatness and create safety and security for all of us. So she has a longer version. I told her if I was going to just kind of highlight two words, it would be safety and security. And I would say what makes her tick is safety and security. So go ahead and just write down whatever you get.
Yeah, it's interesting. She actually came to one of our attraction and action classes, one of our free classes, and worked with me on getting what makes you tick. And she mentioned that she had been through a lot of other self-development programs and had never gotten it this clear. And so the truth is, what makes you tick, it lives inside of you. Getting that perfect expression of it takes being with someone who sees you as you really are, sees you authentically without all of your filters, and can draw that out of you. And so that's one of the things that's going to show up, that can show up for you right here today on this class, is getting a much clearer expression of what makes me tick.
All right. So on to the next slide. Get back to our little column here. This is somebody that's very actively working, is the minister of Agape International Spiritual Center in Orange County, I think it is, in the Los Angeles area. He says his name is Michael Beckwith. Many of you have heard of him. And he says there are no extra people on the earth. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. So in tying on to our tick, we want to look at what is my purpose. So how do I get in touch with what my purpose is? So when you create what we call your tick, that's your tick statement. Like for me, what makes me tick is being the voice of feminine spirit. So how did I get in touch with what my purpose is that I realized that when I'm living true to what makes me tick, that I'm able to give and deliver to others what my purpose is. And so my purpose is to work with heart-centered entrepreneurs to lead more heart-centered businesses and heart-centered lives, and to find a deeper meaning in everything that they do. So that's what makes me tick, being the voice of feminine spirit. And then my purpose is to work with heart-centered entrepreneurs to have a deeper connection to their life, to their work, and everything that they're involved in. And maybe Alan or Nancy or Carrie, since I can see you, I'll pick on you. Maybe you might like to share what your tick is and see if you're ready to share what your purpose is. Okay,
Pick me,
Alan,
pick me.
I'll pick you.
So it's absolutely amazing to me how I remember the first time that I stood in front of you, Jan, there in Houston, the first course that I came to, and started answering this inquiry of what makes me tick, what gets me out of bed in the morning, what's the legacy that I want to leave behind. And over the years, it's evolved, and finally I've got a really concise expression of what makes me tick. And that is connection, connection, connection. Connection to myself, connection to source, and connection to others. So for me, that really, if for example, if I were to look back at my 30 years of working in sales and marketing, and even in corporate America, when I really look at what it was that I enjoyed, why I got out of bed and went to my office every day, this connection piece is there in every aspect of every job that I have ever participated in. And so it's like if you're in a moment where the time where you feel there's a transformation taking place or a transition, it's everything you've done for the past 25 years is all going to go into supporting you in fulfilling on this purpose and vision. And so my tick, connection, connection, connection. And what really amazed me is that on the retreat that we did, I got a really clear picture of my tick, my purpose, and my vision, and how they related to each other. And that's something that, I don't know why I'm amazed, but I just, it's about continuing to grow. And so my purpose is world peace. And my vision for fulfilling on that purpose is what I shortly say, serving and supporting peacemakers. In other words, through our laser coaching programs, through our SACAT program, is supporting others in fulfilling on whatever it is that they want to bring out in the world and have emerge. And so it's just amazing to me, and some of you will have this same experience in this class, and we have an ongoing program to support you to have this show up.
All right. So just in our other example of the woman that I mentioned, Victoria, she didn't mind if I say her name, I don't think. Victoria, what makes her tick is safety and security. And she said, and this became really obvious as I spoke with her more, that her purpose is to be an inspirational model for women, and particularly women of a certain age, because she has she has reached a certain age, and she's turning her retirement, let's say, into an opportunity for her to grow in new areas. And one of them, she's just an amazing person, because she's in her 70s, somewhere in that range, and she's actually working with a personal trainer, and he's teaching her a method that he taught to Olympic weightlifters. So she's actually not in the Olympics, but she's doing a kind of weightlifting that Olympic weightlifters use. And she's got many, many other things that she's into. She's learning a particular way that might help women who didn't put aside money for retirement. She's got a way that she might be able to help them. So she's got this whole purpose that, all of the things she's involved in, even her golfing or her family, her grandkids, is about her purpose tying to her tick, safety and security, and she's being an inspirational model for others. And others can show up inside of her space, so to speak, of being a safety and security, and they, that she's able to work with them because of that. All right.
Yeah, it's interesting. Victoria is a really special person. One of the things that she just got recently around this getting her tick about safety and security is that prior to our laser coaching program, she kind of thought that, okay, safety and security was something that she was aspiring to and that she was helping others to aspire to. And just recently, she actually experienced what I call a phase transition and an up-leveling of her consciousness, her inner vibration, such that what she got was that she is safety and security, and that's why it's what makes her tick.
That's right. Carrie or Nancy, feel free to chime in if you have anything.
Well, I as you were speaking, I basically put together an initial statement. What makes me tick is I care, and my purpose is changing the world one person at a time. And the vision basically needs development, but it's basically developing a successful coaching business. And I'm looking at a different word for coaching in this regard, but it's something along that line.
Right.
That's perfect. I mean, Carrie, it's a process, but look at what you've got now. You've actually, you've got a structure. You've got
right.
sort of a track to run on.
Yeah.
That really is going to draw you forward to get the details of all of that. That's really magnificent. Way to go.
Yeah. And I was going to, now that we're kind of on the next slide for your 2017 vision, let me just qualify this. This is something I told people at the retreat, that many of us, myself included, after working in a corporation, had worked on corporate vision statements and that sort of thing, and you can just cancel out everything that you learned from that because I'm reinventing the word vision and how we're using it here. It's not a vision statement. Your tick is a statement, so that's kind of like your tick statement if you want to go there. And then you tie it to your purpose being, like, how are you fulfilling your tick? Like, what's the overarching purpose of it, or the outcome of your tick?
Yeah,
and
what's
then,
showing up in the world as you live what makes you tick.
Yeah, exactly. And then your vision, throw out that old vision, corporate vision stuff. We're not doing that here. The vision is my 2017 vision. Like, we're kind of bringing it into a period of time, a 2017 vision versus, a global vision. We're tying our tick and our purpose into how am I going to be delivering my tick and my purpose in 2017. And that's what the vision part is. So I heard that in what you said, Carrie. Your 2017 vision is in coaching your clients. For Victoria, her tick being safety and security, her purpose being an inspirational model for women, and then her 2017 vision. She has several, things under these categories, but she categorized it into 4 areas of family, relationship, money, and career. So that's how she's going to roll out and take her 2017 vision.
And the other piece that's fitting into this that's very good is that I just finished going through a passion test for business program, and the end result is creating what they call a culture action plan. And so that's the 2017 vision, is creating the culture action plan for my own business.
There you go. That's exactly right. Nice. Nancy, you look like you were
Yeah, I wanted to show
share.
up.
Gonna
And,
show up, okay.
And I'm a graphic designer, and I didn't even go into graphic design early on. I went in later in life, and I realized I love beautiful things. I love it when things come together, and I love the text, I love the type, I love communicating. And what I discovered was that my tick was the connection to the divine. Because when everything's working together, it's a very special moment in time that just, when I create something great, it is timeless, and it's so exciting to get to that point. And so what I discovered with you, Jan, thanks to you, is that my purpose is to serve joyfully. And what I discovered about that is that when I'm not serving joyfully, I don't get the result that I want. And so I really have to make a mind shift. I have to show up, and I have to just really say, okay, am I going to be joyful about this or not? If I'm not, walk away and come back to it, and then things just happen. This is definitely taking my business and my life to a whole new level. And I really am I'm more joyful all the time now. It's amazing.
It's amazing when we look through the lens of our purpose at all the things on our plate, and then ask, am I joyfully serving there? Oh, that committee I signed up for, that's, that I leave there going, why did I ever attend that meeting? Is that a place that I'm joyfully serving? That's probably not really a place I'm supposed to hang out. Or maybe it's a business client. Sometimes we aren't able to really joyfully serve them in the way that we like to serve people. So this little formula is an important formula to expand and look at things through new eyes. Okay, so one of the things that I get to do in my 2017 vision is to get paid to help people have a better life. And that's another way of saying what makes me tick, being the voice of feminine spirit, and my purpose is to help people to lead better lives, and I get paid for it. Yay, we like that too. So if any of this is ringing for you, we're happy to open the lines, and I'll just do that real quickly and just see if there's anybody who has any questions.
Well, I like one of the things you just said, Jan, is looking through new eyes. And that is exactly what the strategic attraction planning process gives anyone who has a human nervous system. The strategic attraction planning process gives you access to looking at things through new eyes.
Yes.
For example, Carrie, when you mentioned culture action plan, in our language, it would be attractive action plan, because it's really based here in Perfect Customers. It's based on what's perfect for me. And sometimes that's really a brand new way to look at things.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to unmute. Lines are unmuted. So we may have a little background noise, but feel free. Who would like to ask a question or share your tick or purpose? Your lines are open. I can hear you.
Well, I'll go.
Okay. Hi, Simber.
Hi, I'm Simber. I am a harpist, a healing harpist, and I have been on your journey, exactly what you're describing, Jan. Our lives are sort of parallel. I started in corporate. I was a corporate copywriter. I loved my work there, but I got sick. And in going through the process of being ill and then being well, I had to leave that behind, and I had to follow my purpose, which is music. And so I came to the harp about 9 years ago exactly. And ever since then, it has been a struggle of like, okay, I play the harp. Who do I serve? How do I articulate that? And it's been, I would love to talk to you later and get a little, one-on-one help, because I do ask my, my audience members, like, because I'm looking for the words. So what happens to you when I play my music? And here's what happens. This is so fascinating. They say, your music, it makes me feel, and then they say, I don't have a word for that.
Right.
Right.
So I don't know, do I say it leaves me speechless, right? And so I have struggled in the same way, that because my music is instrumental, finding words for that has been really difficult.
Right. All right. Okay, well, those are all the things that we stumble up against, and the reason I brought up the Anam Cara is that we need soul friends to help us to see. I can't see my own soul, but you can probably see it in me, like when I was working with Nancy last week, and I kind of sprung on her. Well, now at least you know what your purpose is. To me, I'm like, easy for me to say, right? And it was right there all along. She was just, your purpose is like the air you breathe. And so we don't always, the water you swim in, all those expressions. So we don't always know exactly what we're all about unless we have somebody helping us.
That's so true. And I would often say to my clients that your arms aren't long enough to hold up your own mirror.
Yeah.
You've got to have somebody hold the mirror and like, okay, can you see yourself now? Can you see yourself now? Can you see yourself now? So yeah, that's been tricky for me to find, actually. So I'm delighted to hear you talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one thing, Simber, that is inherent in what you just said, you said finding the words for that has been really difficult. What that implies is there are words for that. There really are. It's like, I think of Nancy Fields, graphic, designer extraordinaire. She finds a way to take someone like you, for example. If you were looking to build a website, she would be able to have a conversation with you, probably walk you through a strategic traction plan, get content, and then she takes that and puts it into an expression, a visual graphic expression that has within it the essence of what you're talking about. And so that's what shows up in our StakeCat program and in our Attracting Your Perfect Purpose program, is you get around people who see you as you want to be seen, and those words that we know are there start to show up, either through somebody else's mouth or just through your own connection to source.
Nice.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. It's I don't know why it amazes me every time. It's just magical.
All right. Thanks, Simber, for sharing that. So who else has a question or a comment? Something you're noticing?
Or an expression of what makes you tick, what you think your purpose is, and your vision?
Anybody? All right, well, we're going to go ahead and mute everybody. There's a little background noise. All right, if you come up with something you'd like to ask a question about, just let us know. We're right here. All right, so we're going to move on. And let's see what's next. So once you get this, what do you do with it? That's the question. Okay, so what does that mean? My tick, my purpose, my vision. And so we need, when we get to this place of getting clear about what our vision is for 2017, we need to fill in the blanks. So that's what we've been talking to people about, and people at the retreat were giving us instant feedback on how great this was for them. And if we were able to sit in the room with you a little longer, we felt like we could develop these things for each person. And so we created a program to do that. And it's about, when your vision, when you get in clear about what makes you tick and what your purpose is and how you'd like to roll out your 2017 vision, now is the time to get that rolled out. Just think about what it would be like to go into the holidays and know that you've already got a plan in place, you've got a structure in place to support you rather than going, through the holidays, however those affect you. Some people they affect in very positive ways, some people not so much. And but allow yourself to have a whole different experience this holiday, knowing that in the beginning of the year, your vision, the one that you've been dreaming about for so long, is actually going to form legs and learn to stand on them. And so somebody asked me, what does that mean, give your vision legs? Well, I see vision as a very conceptual thing. And I hear from business people all the time that they have ideas. They have this idea, that idea. And even to my example, when I first started Perfect Customers, and my coach asked me, well, let's talk about your 5-year plan. And then I went, ah. And we went from a 5-year plan to a 4-month plan. That was as far as I could really see at that point. And so it doesn't matter where you are. It's about getting in touch with who you are in this moment, and then allowing yourself to be who you are every moment and live your 2017 vision and of dream of possibility from that place.
Yeah, it's about living a life you would love living, and like getting started now and having the support that you need in order to have that happen. Not just a life that, the economy tells you can live, or that your history tells you can live, but a life that you really would enjoy living. And in order to have that happen, you've got to have, as Jan said, you got to have a plan in place, especially like for the holidays, because if you don't have a plan and a structure in place and a support system, somebody else is going to tell you how it's going to go.
That's right. I said I have a little goals journal. I will tell you, every day I set goals. This is my goals journal, and every day you can see I'm writing in it. Sometimes I write just in the mornings. Sometimes I write at night. Sometimes I write during the day. And the reason that I do that, just as Alan said, if I don't say where I want to be going every moment, something else will decide it for me. So, we don't need to go into what that might look like. We just need to start being more proactive to creating how we want it to go.
Yeah, because if I just leave it up to whoever whatever's going on every day, I'm just going to continue to experience the same thing over and over again and wonder why. This is the antidote to all of that. Trust me.
When Nancy, who spoke just a moment ago, and I told her about this package that we've created, she said, and I asked her if I could quote this. So Nancy, I hope that's okay, because we're using your quote everywhere. But she said, I've been asking, what is my purpose? And she said, this package is made just for me. Sounds like this package is made for me. And so have you been asking what your purpose is? That would probably be something to know whether or not you want to have a group of Anam Karas supporting you in 2017. Maybe you've wondered your whole life, am I on purpose? Maybe it's a new thought for you. Maybe it's I was clear about my purpose, I just didn't know how to roll it out. Maybe you're still wondering how I'm going to make money from my purpose, my vision. And we've got some formulas for you. So a lot of times when we have gotten stalled out in a particular place in our life, or we're just not quite sure where to go, this is an opportunity that is going to give you several things. One, you'll get a strategy. Because half the time, even if you get something really rolling and it's going along and then it falls through, like, have you ever had something like that? You had an idea, it seemed like it was going to pan out, things were going okay, and then next thing you know, nothing's working, nothing's going ahead. So one of the things, in addition to our strategic attraction plan, you're going to get an additional strategy that will allow you to determine every phase that your vision is going through. And you'll know if it's working or not, because when you use this particular strategy, which is different from our original strategic attraction plan, I will tell you that it's not the same as that. It's a particular strategy that you can use to determine where you are in your vision development. So you may be in the beginning stages, you may be in the middle, but it gives you kind of a tracking mechanism. And so one of the worst things can ever happen is to have something going really well, and then you take your eye off the ball. Maybe, you know, you're looking over here when you were looking over here, and next thing you know, all the plates that you were spinning just kind of collapsed to the floor. So the other part of our 2017 package that we're going to share with you is about not playing alone. That's why I mentioned the Anam Cara, is that if you're trying to do something, a new project or a new business, or develop something new in the new year, you can't do it by yourself. And so this is a way to stop playing alone and get a group of Anam Caras supporting you. I had one of the things I love that my sister's on the call today, which is really cool. I have such an amazing family of visioneers and people that are very purpose-driven and have been very successful in their careers. And I had a wonderful chat with my brother, actually, and several chats with my sister, who was, amazing in her own right. And my brother shared with me a little story about two brothers, and I would call it two sisters, but maybe it was a brother and a sister. And anyway, they were walking along, and their whole life was ahead of them. This is the metaphor. And as they got towards the end of their path, they stopped and they looked back over their life, this path that they've been walking together. And one brother's path was very straight, and one was very weavy. It wove all over the place. It went this way, that way. Sometimes it was on a path, sometimes it wasn't. And as the two brothers were assessing and looking backwards over their life journey together, the brother whose path was very weavy asked the other brother, "How did you do such a straight line? I have no idea how you did that." And he said it was simple. I just knew what my purpose was, and I set my vision to go where I wanted it to go. And so that's part of what we're talking about here, is that we work with people who are wanting to not only live purpose-filled, heart-centered lives, they're wanting to make something of that, so that when you're standing at the end of this time next year, we're all celebrating. We're going, "Hey, how did you do that? Tell us." And that we can celebrate. And then if there's anything standing in the way, these things are going to be erased. We have ways that happens when people work with us. It's not even busting through a block. I envision it. You're not like a karate person with a big wooden block in front of you hacking through it. It's that the better picture would be that if there was a orange cone in your way, an obstacle, that it just doesn't appear. It just erased in your presence, and that's what'll happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting in an elevator and pushing the button to the penthouse. You don't have to spend 25 years in psychotherapy. We can actually transform things very quickly. And really one of the things that I hear you saying, Jan, is sometimes people, it's not convenient or it's not comfortable to do a program right now. Well, if it was comfortable and convenient, you would already have done it, and I know where each and every one of you is. You've got a huge possibility living inside of you. And this possibility has shown up, even if you've just had a glimpse of possibility of something you can achieve in 2017. And it's an opportunity to grow, and you need the support to bring that greatness out. And when possibility shows up, it's kind of like, you ever open a heavy door? What happens is it has a tendency to want to slam shut. Well, you got to jam a wedge in that door to keep it from shutting. That's where each of us is right now. And so you got to choose to put a wedge in there and have that possibility that you've seen show up for you on this call actually become real and manifest in 2017.
Cool. Well, the program that we're talking about is called Attracting Your Perfect Purpose, and we are doing a welcoming call tomorrow. That might be a little fast for you, but for some people that are the early adopters, and
there's no time to think about it.
If you're like me, you jump in with your hair on fire and then ask questions later. So anyway, we're going to show you how you can have the best of the best. That we are doing a welcome call again in January. But our first actual call. So what you're getting to end your aloneness in pursuing your purpose or your 2017 vision, you're getting some online benefits. A training module, as I mentioned, there's a special strategy I'm going to share with you in a training module. So you'll never ever get stopped in the middle of a project again, or you'll never not know why your project didn't get off the ground. It's a very, very valuable tool that I've used off and on. Well, I've used it all the way through every one of my years of business. So you'll get those training modules of that. You'll also have some Q&A calls. You'll have a support call and the virtual call, a virtual retreat. So there's something once a month. And it'll either be a question and answer about the training modules, or it'll just be a supportive call, or our virtual retreats will be like this. It'll be a Zoom video chat. You'll get to see us, you know, how cute we are, and you'll get to connect with one another. And so there's something every single month for the next year. So here's our invitation to play. And I didn't put any numbers up here, but I wanted to let you know that we are going to send you an email today. Those of you have been on the call, and thank you for staying all the way. We've had about 25 people on their call today, and it's been really great to attract people. So it tells me that you're interested in how to really get the benefit of living true to what makes you tick and have a purpose-filled 2017. I believe this is the time in our world's evolution, you could say, that this is more important than ever. And so it is my joy to joyfully serve you in learning what that is. So we will send you an email with all the details, but I did want to tell you, I'll verbally tell you that we are doing a special through the end of the year of $9.97 to participate in this program. And we even have a very attractive payment plan. You can get started for $97 a month. So it's very affordable. It's not something that will take all of your time because it's designed to give you material and then a month to implement it so that you're not, coming to a call every single week. We want to honor that people that we attract have a lot going on in their lives. So we feel like we've designed this program in such a way to, one, give you very great support while giving you the time to really live your life and to bring forth all those fabulous things that you're involved in.
Yeah, it is. It's a transformational program. And the metaphor that I gave of like walking on an elevator and instead of stopping at every floor, you just push the button at the penthouse. That's what happens in this program. You'll have a quantum shift that we're going to actually personally raise your inner vibration to a higher level of functioning that's going to then be reflected in whatever it is that you want to have show up. And so if you have seen a possibility for yourself, put a wedge in that door. Don't let it close. Don't have 2017 just be another year where you're pressing your nose against the window and wishing that you had had attracted a program like this to support you.
Wow. So here's my closing story. So a young man who was quite studious in his college career, was studying to be a doctor. He decided that he spent so much time in his book learning that he needed to do something physically active. So he signed up for a swimming course at his college. And on the very first day, the coach had him, he just described to me that, I mean, it was like in the winter, and it was very cold outside. It was in Michigan, and I mean, it's just super cold and snowy and all of that. And
although this was an indoor pool,
it was an indoor
it's
pool.
still
Okay.
cold.
It wasn't that cold. Okay, so it was indoor pool, but still the nature of being around a pool is quite chilly. And here they are in these little bitty bathing suits that the guys used to wear in those days, I guess. And that the first thing the coach said, he's told each one of the guys, before they'd even done anything, no instruction, no guidelines, nothing. He says, I want you to go and dive off the high dive. And, all of the guys.
The high dive.
Not
like
the low dive. The
30
high dive.
feet high dive.
Yeah. So here he's thinking, oh my gosh, well, aren't you going to tell us how to do it, or, demonstrate at least? And the coach, said, no, just go do it. And so here they are, all the guys, one by one, they're lined up, they're shivering, and not only are they cold, now they're scared, and they, maybe some of them knew how to do it, but he certainly didn't. And when he got up there, he dived off the high dive. And then the coach, they were all, one by one as they were jumping off the board. He swimming in the snow. Okay, thank you, Carrie. I'll say that in a minute. The coach would say, do it again, do it again, do it again. So the guys, without any training whatsoever, were lining up on this big 30-foot climb and going and diving off the board. And at the end of the day, they were shocked at how well they did. Like each one of the young men that had done this were amazed that they were able to do so much without any instructions. And so my friend that relayed this story to me, he went up to the coach afterwards, and he says, Coach, I've never even ever jumped off a high dive, much less dive off a high dive. I have no idea how I was able to do so much. And you didn't really model it, or you didn't tell us what to do. How did you know to do that? And he said, it was easy. I was being that you'll be a good diver. And that was the whole premise of the coach's training, is that he was standing on the sideline being that you're going to be successful. So my invitation for you to play with us is about Alan and I. Okay, we're not going to wear a skimpy bathing suit, I will tell you that. But we are on your sideline cheering you on and seeing you be successful. We are being that you're going to be successful in 2017, whatever you choose to play in. So the way that we're going to be able to really make a difference for you is if you're in our program. So this is your invitation to sign up, and when you get our email in just a little while, you'll be able to get the details. But if you have any questions, please let us know, and we look forward to connecting with you and having a wonderful 2017 today. Today and a year from now, I want to be sitting here with you going, what's our celebration? Because it's going to be a very successful year.
Yeah, so if you're a yes walking in the door, just click on the link and sign up for the program. Trust me, it's a no-brainer. If you have any questions or things you want to work out, call us, email us, set up a time, and ask for help. Reach out to Jan or Alan, and we're here to support you in any way that we can.
All right. Well, that's the kind of like the invitation part, but I do want to do this. I'm going to turn the recording off now.